In this video, we're going to go over how to use Liongard's Power BI data connector to pull your data. To get started, please be sure that you have Power BI Desktop installed and that you've successfully set up our Liongard Power BI connector. If you haven't done so, please go back and watch the previous video where we go over these steps. To proceed, we're first going to need one thing from your Liongard instance. So please go ahead and log into your Liongard instance and follow along. From your homepage in Liongard, we're going to need to get an API token. So let's go to your name in the top right corner. Let's go to account settings. Let's go to access tokens. And we're going to generate a new token. We're going to do a Liongard API token. Now, I recommend you do unlimited. You can choose to do one of these time periods, but do know you will then need to upkeep and repeat these steps as these are set to expire. So for this case, I would go ahead and go with unlimited. Now pause here at this screen because the values you need are going to be right here in this blue portion of the screen. Now go ahead and hold here for a minute. I'm going to show you the next step, but again, do not navigate off this page from your browser. In another tab, you can go to our doc site here. And if you scroll down on the left-hand side, we're going to go to Power BI right here. We're going to go to this step where it says install and configure. And right here, this is the step we're doing right now, generate credentials. And what we need to do is we need to actually base 64 encode these credentials for our connector. I'm going to show you both steps here. One is you can use this PowerShell command. The other is you can use this website right here that we've linked. Let me show you both steps right now. So in PowerShell, you can take this script and it needs your key and it needs your secret right here in quotes. So let me jump back over to my browser. I'm going to go to this tab. The first thing it needs is the key. So let's go get that. It needs to be in quotes, so make sure you include those. And then it needs our secret. Now when we run this script, you're going to get an output like this right here, with these two equal signs at the end and this base 64 encoded string. This is the string we're going to need to take here in the future. Let me show you the other step where you can use this same website. You can use this website to do the same thing. So again, I'm going to grab the key first, the ID we'll call it. Double check it should be on the encode step, but just you can switch up here between the two, but make sure you're on the encode step. You're going to paste the ID, and then you're going to paste the secret. Whoops. For some reason I lost my ID, so let me go back there and get it. Okay. So that's, sorry, I had to do that in reverse, but the first portion is I need to put my ID, and then you do need to put a colon between, and then you need to paste the secret just like this, and make sure there's no trailing white space, and then you're going to hit encode. And if you see here ZDJ and these two equal signs, same output that I'm getting from this PowerShell script as well. So you can use either here to get your output. Now, I would store this somewhere, securely, and you may need it again to authenticate to Power BI here in the future, but it does do a pretty good job of caching your credentials when you first use them. But for reference, you can always generate this again, but once you leave this page, you're no longer going to have access to this secret. Let me show you what I mean. Once I refresh this page, I see the record of this this token that I created, and I can see the ID, but I have no ability to see the secret. So I do recommend you store that somewhere securely, or you'll have to generate a new one in the event that you need to regenerate this token. Okay. So now that we have our token created, go ahead and just hold on to that for a moment, and now we're going to move into Power BI. So let's open up Power BI. Inside of Power BI, we need to get data to connect to our Liongard connector. So you can either click the get data option up here, or if you've just opened it up, you might have the green pop-up screen, and you should see a get data option there as well. So go ahead and click get data. And we're going to filter down to the Liongard connector. Again, if you're not seeing the Liongard connector here, you'll go back to our previous video and we will show how to make sure you correctly set this up. Go ahead and hit connect. The first thing it asks is for the instance. Now this is the instance ID as it exists right here before the dot app. So in my case, it's ROAR2. So you need to go to your Liongard and go find your instance ID, and that's what you're going to provide here. Here is the base64 key it needs. So go ahead and get that generated. Okay, from here, we're going to scroll down, and I'm going to go ahead and grab my base64 encoded value right here. We'll go back over into Power BI, and we'll provide it here, and we'll hit connect. Okay, so we're successful. Now, if you see that prompt show up for you again, the request for your token, please go back and make sure that you correctly encoded your access ID in secret, as I've shown you in this video. If it continues to keep popping back up and requesting for those credentials again, it's telling you that those credentials are incorrect. So either they weren't encoded correctly, or perhaps when you went to generate a token, you did not do the API token and you did the agent install token. So just go back and double check those two steps in case you're running into it, requesting you to keep providing those credentials. Let's review what is inside the Liongard connector here after you authenticate. The first thing are these two Liongard functions, which are going to be very valuable to you. We have a metric evaluations and a system metric summary function. Go ahead and check those in. We'll go over in the next video how to exactly use these functions and what they do, but at a high level, these are two functions that are going to be available in Power BI. That one lets you pull specific data around specific metrics that you want to visualize and use inside of Power BI. And the other is if you want to pull certain data around certain systems into Power BI. So these two are very helpful. Go ahead and check them in. After that, we have these Liongard tables. And these are effectively just some pre-queried tables that the connector does to pull some helpful data in that you might want to use to do slicing for your data. You know, if you want to filter down or if you want to make relationships for your data between environments, your customers, or certain inspectors. So I'll just kind of quickly run through these. The first is the agent table. It gives you kind of a preview of what that data would be right here, but just know this isn't necessarily the full data set. The agent table is just all of the agents and their information that you have deployed inside your Liongard, and you could pull this into Power BI. There's a date table. This is just this table is basically created if you're going to be doing some kind of like trending or time analysis. You need to have a date kind of lookup table in order to do that, to reference, and that's what this is here for if you want to use it. You can go ahead and check it in. Please know that anything you're bringing in here, you can repeat this step while you're building the report and go back and grab these tables if you don't choose to do so at this time. So this isn't a one-time step. You can go back at any time. This is an environment table. All of your clients, all of your environments are listed here. So you can bring this in. These are all the inspectors that you've deployed inside your Liongard instance. So this could be a lookup table for all those different inspectors and some additional information about them. This is just an inspector type table. So these are all the inspector types which we have inside a Liongard. So kind of a lookup table against all the different type of inspectors. If you maybe want to slice down and filter, this table is helpful. This table is a list of all the metrics you've created inside of your Liongard instance. It is not the metric data. It is just the list of metrics in which have been created and their associated ID, their UUID, which will be very helpful for you when you use this metric evaluations function, along with a couple other bits of information. And again, this is very similar to the date, but now this is a time table again for trending analysis and for time analysis. This table is available to you. I would recommend to go ahead and select everything. And once you're done, we're going to hit transform data. Go ahead and do that. Now, depending on the size of your instance, how much data you have, this can go upwards of a few seconds, like you just saw with me, or it could take maybe a minute, 2 minutes if you're a very, very large instance. But know that that table will hang there, and then you'll get to this screen once you're good to go. Okay, so if you see here, we can kind of poke around, but we can start seeing that our data is coming in, and these are the different tables that we're now bringing in from the Power BI data connector that we provided to you, our Liongard connector, that is. I'm going to stop here for this video, and we're going to pick it up in the next video to explore these tables a little more and then start getting into how to pull specific data, that is metric data you want to see, and system data you want to see from these two functions here. Thank you. I'll see you in the next one.